Hey there and a happy Friday and welcome to Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz and this is what we're tracking for you today. Let's get a check on that futurecast. Heading into the weekend, you see lots of green headed toward the west coast. This is all rain, also some mountain snow. We'll break it all down for you coming up. And later on, after decades of debate, 4 massive dams have been dismantled along the Klamath River, restoring more than 400 miles of critical salmon habitat. For one tribe, this is about more than fish. And finally, we'll meet a new resident making waves at the Seattle Aquarium. Look at that little guy. We'll give you all the latest on this little guy coming up. And once again, we want to thank you for joining us on this Friday, November 21st. And this is Weather Out West. If you haven't joined us before, this is an hour-long segment, and we tell you what's happening weather-wise for 8 of our stations in the West. We begin today in San Diego, California, where it was a soggy Thursday, but the rain is not over just yet. Vanessa Paz tells us when it will wrap up and how the holiday week is looking like.
And happy Friday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Well, it has been a very busy week to say the least. We have been tracking a parade of storms hitting since last weekend, and the third and final one arrived late Thursday. As we take a look at the 24-hour rainfall totals, mind you, this is just from storm number 3, and this is on top of the rain we accumulated over the past 7 days or so. So San Onofre was one of our big winners. That's a coastal community. They got close to about 1.5 inches. National City got close to 9/10. We got about 3/4 out in Palomar Mountain, a little over 6/10 out in Chula Vista. And La Mesa, which is more inland, got about 1/2 inch. Carlsbad in the northwest quadrant of the county got close to 1/2 inch or so. As we take a look at the weather headlines, saying goodbye to the work week and hello to the weekend, isolated showers for us will continue all the way through early Saturday. We are trading the moderate to heavy rain for some gusty winds later on tonight, targeting the mountains and valley floors. And then sunshine makes a reappearance. The sun that we all know and love will make a reappearance for us San Diegans. Looking ahead to Sunday, lasting all the way through Thanksgiving. All right, we have seen the satellite radar composite just lit up in green from the very start this morning around 5 o'clock when we first went on air. As we take a look at our freeways, we're seeing a nice break from the rain along the 5 freeway, and then we're seeing most of the shower activity now falling along the 15 corridor from Escondido all the way down to about Rancho Bernardo, Miramar, the Kearney Mesa area. Moving a little more south, the Chula Vista neighborhood, National City community has yet to see a break from these showers. In fact, we've been just seeing kind of this nonstop rain ever since this morning. It is fairly light, but it's enough to wreak havoc on our freeways, and we actually we're tracking a lot of crashes since this morning as well. The chance of rain plummets by the time we get to 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow. That's not to say there won't be precipitable water left in the atmosphere that may squeeze out a shower or two, but again, the heavy stuff is now behind us. We are going to continue to have light showers. Most of the activity, the heavy stuff, moves over to the mountains and desert communities, and we can continue to see pop-up thunderstorms, which would lead to localized flooding. On top of the rain that we already received, we are looking at accumulating anywhere between an additional 2 to maybe 4/10 of an inch or so. Winds right now are fairly calm, but they will have a kick, especially later on tonight around 8, 9 o'clock. Isolated gusts could exceed anywhere between 35 to 45 miles per hour or so. This is what it looked like earlier this morning. Sun lit up the sky just before 6:30. Current temperatures around the 9 o'clock hour today were anywhere between mid-50s up to the high 50s out in Carlsbad and Oceanside, in the 30s for our mountains earlier this morning. Today's highs will climb into the low 60s for the coast and inland valleys, 51 degrees later on today for the mountain areas, and we'll top out close to 60 degrees for our deserts. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast, we are going to be cool today across the board, but tomorrow daytime highs will start to rise. However, the nights are still going to remain brisk, so we're trading in the rain for the high winds and very cold nights, especially for the mountain areas.
Thanks, Vanessa. Now let's head on over to Arizona, where Ginger Jeffries is tracking more rain heading into the weekend.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at weather out west, where we have seen several layers of rain move through this week. Even our first snowfall of the season. In fact, our Snow Bowl, one of our ski resorts, opening up a day early because of the amount of snow that came into play. And today, we still have some precipitation in the works. I think it's really going to be hugging the west side of the state today. You can see from Yuma into Bullhead City and possibly dripping on over into Gila Bend. We're going to see some showers, enough so that there is a flash flood watch all day long. Now, the rest of the state going to see considerable cloud cover and temperatures definitely on the cooler side. We're only hitting 65 today in Tucson. I've got 49 in Show Low and 43 in Flagstaff. So here it goes. Once again, we've got green on the screen indicating the potential for flooding due to heavy rainfall, but also the runoff. So heads up from Blythe into Yuma. Also, because this is such a cold system, we've got that freeze warning this morning. It's going to expire at 9 o'clock, but still all these areas in purple looking for sub-freezing conditions. So here we go. As you can see throughout Friday, we've got those pop-up storms, also looking for some snow to be dropping down, or at least some freezing rain, possibly some sleet. And also notice the dynamic nature of some of these systems rolling on through. So hail and lightning, certainly a component of the forecast. And you can see how close it is getting. By 4 o'clock tonight, going to be knocking on the door of the metros. So some of our far west cities, including Buckeye, could see a stray shower here or there. It's not completely off the table. We're just not the main focus. As you can see, this is taking a due north trajectory. But then after this system moves on through, we've got our next area of low pressure that's going to be dropping into play. Right now, it's cruising down the California coast. But then as we get into Saturday, notice that low is going to push some more moisture our direction, possibly even a light dusting of snow through Sunday morning. This will be clearing out by Sunday night, and then we're going to get back to the basics here in the desert. That's what I'm talking about. Sunny, warm, dry conditions. You can see we're going to see in that long range forecast model, after we've had quite a bit of rainfall this week, even record rainfall in the higher elevations, we will begin to dry out and turn sunny by next week. So that's kind of Thanksgiving weather we like here in the Valley of the Sun. Today, plenty of clouds. Daytime highs only getting up to about 66 degrees. Pair of fives tonight. It's going to be cloudy. It is going to be on the cool side. But then here we go. By tomorrow, we should start seeing some of those rain showers overnight and then tapering off by Sunday morning. As far as futurecast, I'm timing it out for you so you can see. By Saturday, it looks like 6:30 in the evening. And remember, this cell is going to come up from the south and then push to the northeast. So when it does that, it should start moving into those higher elevations, producing some snow. And the elevation, I think, is going to be right at about 7,000 feet. So looking ahead, Flagstaff, more snow in the works for you through Sunday, and then you start clearing out. I mean, look at this. Sunshine back in abundance by Monday. For the valley, we're hanging out in the 60s through the early part of next week, but we're also going to get back to the basics. Looking like temperatures are going to climb. We're going from 66 today to the mid 70s by Thanksgiving.
75 and sunny for Thanksgiving. That looks great. Thanks, Ginger. Up next, we're taking a look back at the devastating bomb cyclone that hit western Washington last year and all of the lessons learned. Wednesday marked 1 year since a historic bomb cyclone tore through western Washington, killing several people, devastating homes, and leaving more than 600,000 customers in the dark for days. King 5's Madison Wade talked with 3 of the hardest hit power companies about the lessons learned and the changes they've made.
We saw a significant amount of tree failures, and the level of damage associated with that was significant.
Puget Sound Energy was prepared to respond the night of the bomb cyclone because of the forecasted winds.
This storm was exceptionally challenging due to the number of tree failures, and our crews were spending significant time just cutting their way in just to start making repairs to our infrastructure.
So many trees fell. PSC responded to 3,500 damage points to their transmission lines, more than 400 miles of lines down. This led to nearly 1,400 repair jobs. PSC saw full restoration in 8 days.
We were assessing all the way into day 6, day 7, and it was an 8-day duration storm, and we were assessing damage all the way through.
Snohomish PUD crews were also very busy at work that night and in the days and weeks after to restore power.
We've spent a lot of time reflecting on that experience, and I can say with a lot of confidence that our crews did an amazing job responding to that storm and getting people restored as quickly as possible. But we can always do better, and we've spent the last year really focused on how can we continue to improve with our customers.
Both Snohomish PUD and Puget Sound Energy made significant improvements to their outage maps after the bomb cyclone.
Our outage map now offers a circuit view so that customers can actually see the circuit they're on, because we get asked often, why do I not have power but my neighbors do? So now they can see that level of detail on the outage map.
One of our lessons learned was that our outage map and the processes associated with it, that we needed to do a lot of work to improve the clarity of that information for customers and be prepared for all seasons.
Seattle City Light also saw significant outages.
We peaked out at 114,000 customers that had lost power. That's approximately 20% of our customers.
They also decided to update their outage map to help customers get specific information easier.
What we've done is a process improvement where we're going to put a banner at the top of our outage map for more specific information as it becomes available.
These 3 power companies worked around the clock to restore power, a massive feat when more than 600,000 customers were in the dark in Western Washington.
And staying in Western Washington, thankfully this week has been very quiet compared to this time last year. But rain and mountain snow are back in the forecast this weekend and into next week. Seattle's Rich Marriott has those details.
And a happy Friday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott. We made it to the end of the week and actually getting a pretty quiet weather day to end the week on, as a matter of fact. You see, we do have some rain out towards the coast. That's a front that's moving in, but it's going to stop moving in here pretty quickly and just stall out there, really draped all the way across from the northwest tip of the state up through the San Juans and up through Whatcom County. Probably going to sit there for the next 24 to 36 hours before it starts to move through as we head towards later on Saturday night. And you can see occasionally we're seeing a shallow kind of shower popping up around the San Juans or over into Whatcom County, but that seems to be about as far south as it's going to get until we actually see that front move in later on tomorrow night. Meanwhile, a pretty quiet day there in Bellingham, cloudy skies, an occasional shower. Quantities out of this during that period of time are going to be very light, less than a quarter of an inch even up in those northern counties. Looking out from the Queen Anne Tower cam down towards Mount Rainier, you can see potential for some sun breaks out there, which we are going to have during the day, and the better chance will be as you move farther south in Puget Sound. Looking at the satellite image, you can see we do have the system kind of sitting out here, not all that well organized, and again, it's just going to stall out there, it looks like, today on into late tomorrow, and then finally we'll see that push through, and we should see some lowering snow levels behind it. In fact, should drop snow levels down on Sunday afternoon to about 3,000 feet, and we could see a couple inches of snow over Snoqualmie Pass and maybe a little bit more over Stevens and White Passes at the little bit higher elevations. Checking that countdown to winter, which we like to call the countdown to when the daylight begins to increase again. It's going to give it a positive spin. Just 30 days, just a month from today, we end our decreasing daylight during the days and start to add it back in teeny bits at a time, but it'll accelerate pretty quickly once we get it past the holiday season. Checking the 7-day forecast, you can see we do dry out a little bit as we head towards the first part of next week, at least for a day or so, and then we do see a system push in as we head towards later on Tuesday. That's going to kind of stall. Question is where it's going to stall as we head into Wednesday and early on Thanksgiving Day. And so overall, we're going to be looking for lowland rain and mountain snow. But in terms of the actual snow levels during the precipitation, still a little iffy. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. Right now, though, you can see again, this is the system that stalled out along the coast. We look at the computer model version of it. You can see it holds its as we head towards starting this morning. Out there on the northwest tip, and by the time we head on to tomorrow morning, hasn't budged very far, kind of maybe extended further down the coast. And then as we head towards later on Saturday, it starts to make that move, and then it pushes right on through here for what will be a wet overnight hours for late Saturday night into Sunday, and then probably see that front move through probably late in the morning on Sunday, turning the steady rain to off and on showers. So there'll still be a little bit of a convergence zone north of Seattle in the afternoon on Sunday that may continue those showers in that area. Checking the passes, you can see they're basically bare and dry today. There's no restrictions for any of the passes, and we're in pretty good shape. In fact, if we take a look at the forecast, you can see there for Snoqualmie Pass, lots of clouds out there, but temperatures still getting into the 40s, so no problems in terms of anything frozen on the highways. And you see Stevens Pass a little bit cooler, but also just dealing with cloudy skies. So the forecast for today is basically mostly cloudy. That chance of showers primarily in Whatcom and San Juan counties. Temperatures today running mostly in the upper 40s and low 50s. Tomorrow will run pretty much the same through most of the day, and then as we head towards late afternoon and evening, we'll start to see that start to slowly work its way towards the southeast, and finally rain should move in after about 10 o'clock on Saturday night. A wet morning on Sunday, turning to off and on showers. Temperatures over the weekend mostly in the low to mid 50s, so pretty close to normal. So we head into Monday, partly sunny, just a few showers. We'll see rain moving back in again later on Tuesday, cooling back to the mid 40s. And then Wednesday, it looks like we're going to continue to see a chance of lowland rain and mountain snow, and same again on Thanksgiving. Right now, the computer models are disagreeing, and one of them, it says it's going to be down to 3,000 feet, which means snow for all of the mountain highway passes. The other one's kind of keeping it up around 5,000, which means it'd be rain for Snoqualmie and for Stevens Pass. So we're going to have to fine tune that as we get a little bit closer. If we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, you can see we get even cooler though as we head towards the end of the month, which might be good news for the ski areas.
And very similar to Seattle, you will want to listen to Rod Hill's forecast in Portland, because if you're traveling through the Cascades, you'll want to know if you're going to run into snow or if you're going to run into some rain.
It is Friday in Portland as well. Newsflash, so we're all enjoying the fact it's Friday. We're starting off with chilly temps in the 30s. We've had a mixed bag of fog, and what's been mixed is the same location has been really foggy and then some sun, and then really foggy. So it's interesting to watch these fog banks kind of migrate around the area. We're also throwing in a little bit of what I call spillage. This is the flow pattern aloft, throwing some thin mid to high level clouds over our skies. So kind of a partly cloudy mix. That actually led to some beautiful, beautiful sunrises this morning in areas that didn't have the fog covering up the cameras, if you will. We are dry today completely. This is 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're watching up here around Astoria. Maybe it gets caught in cloudiness there more than, say, that most of us do. Tomorrow's a repeat of this morning. Chilly, 30s, fog, and then we get some sun, all dry on Saturday as well. And then here she comes, our next round of rain. Doesn't look overly impressive. This particular model has raindrops in Portland before 6 o'clock. There are other models that say, well, not so fast, that we could be dry until like mid-morning. So we'll see. But this does show a solid shot of rain coming through. And then it doesn't really show anything else later in the day. Now, the way we look at things as forecasters, I'm going to make the assumption there will be scattered showers Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and Monday down here. But this doesn't show much. Rain totals over the 2 days, mostly the raindrops that will fall on Sunday. And if you just look at the range at the coast and the valley, it's pretty much identical. About 1/4 of an inch to less than 1/2 of an inch of rain. About 1/2 of an inch of moisture up in the Cascades, and then some lighter amounts out across the east. Of course, this weekend does kick off the holiday travel season, so let's look at snow levels. Of course, not a concern today because it's dry, not a concern Saturday because it's dry. When that first wave of moisture hits Mount Hood, specifically Sunday morning, it'll be rain over the passes with a snow level at about 5,500 feet. And then 4,000 feet is our Mount Hood Government Camp Highway 26 pass. And that's where we'll be later in the day, Sunday going into Sunday night. And then maybe as low as 2,500 feet Monday. So if you just look at that, you're like, uh-oh, it could be some travel issues. But it's unclear as to whether or not we will have enough moisture in scattered snow bands, if you will, or showers, to produce significant issues for traveling. But obviously it's that time of the year you will want to check conditions, specifically Sunday night into Monday morning if you're going to be traveling. Our live cameras, they're really gorgeous up above the fog. That's Mount Hood and all of her glory. It's been a beautiful morning at the coast. Some folks out walking, a lot of seagulls on the beach right there too from Schnookwas Casino Resort in Lincoln City. This is from wine country looking at Mount Hood. How pretty is that? That shows the low fog and the partly cloudy skies up top from our Chehalem tasting room camera. Portland's been a mixed bag, but we've had sun back and forth, and we expect to get up to about 51 in the Rose City today. 50 over in Bend today too with some sunshine. Here's Portland's 7-day. So 51 today, repeat day tomorrow, 52. The rain showers on Sunday, and then a scattered shower threat with sun breaks on Monday. Right now, if you go to the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, could be a really rainy day down here, but early snow levels, a look at them, look to be 6,000 feet. That would be just heavy rain over the passes, and then some scattered showers and sun. 54 would be pretty mild on Thanksgiving Thursday.
It's been a little over a year since a stretch of the Klamath River that was once buried beneath dams for more than a century reopened to the public, and the transformation is hard to miss. After the break, ABC 10's John Bartel takes an extending look at how we got here and what's next. The removal of 4 dams on the Klamath River hit a milestone recently, and once the dams are gone, the free-flowing Klamath River, which straddles the Oregon-California border, it will restore access to roughly 400 miles of prime salmon spawning habitat. ABC 10's John Bartel has been following the massive project for 2 years.
The best way to protect a place, a wild area, is to get as wide a range of people seeing that area as possible.
For more than a century, this canyon, this riverbank, and these rock formations were off limits to the public, seen only by a handful of people. But today, that's all changed.
It's so cool to go down a place that literally was under reservoir for 100 years.
Momentum River Expeditions is among the very first companies to lead trips down the newly opened stretch of the Klamath River, a section that owner Pete Wallstrom has spent years fighting to restore and open to the public.
It is really important that people have access to this new stretch of river, economically and culturally, and for future projects like this.
Undam the Klamath! Bring the salmon home!
On August 28, 2024, construction crews broke through the last of 4 hydroelectric dams on the Klamath River, which officially made it the largest dam removal project in the world. The dams were aging, inefficient, and had left the river struggling. Taking them down marked a historic moment for tribes, restoring over 400 miles of salmon habitat and reopening more than 2,200 acres of land that had once been a muddy lake bottom.
The river is fiercer. It is alive. It is running faster. It is swifter. The water is clearer and cleaner than I have ever seen it in my whole life.
Growing up in the Yurok tribe, Amy Bowers-Cordalis watched the river grow sick because of the dams and remembered a time when algae-filled waters caused a massive fish kill in the Klamath, which deeply affected her tribe's livelihood.
It was our life force, our lifeblood that united us, and it was sick for a really long time, and we felt that in a very deep way because we are the original stewards of the river, and it is our duty and our responsibility to the river to care for it.
Now an accomplished attorney and conservationist, Amy has spent her life fighting for the removal of the dams. With the river finally flowing free again, she says healing for these waters and the community can finally begin.
Through an Indigenous lens, it means that we are healing the whole ecosystem. So, all the way up to Upper Klamath Lake, to the tributaries that go into Upper Klamath Lake, all the way down to the ocean.
The river is healing, but it's not happening overnight. As you raft down the newly freed section of the Klamath, scars of the dam and the reservoir are still visible.
So it's pretty easy to tell, actually. There's about 2 or 3 feet of dirt that would have been reservoir sediment.
The sediment that Momentum River guide Tyler Poley is talking about is the result of mud and muck that built up behind the dams and now blanket the landscape.
Well, so I mean, it's been under a lake for the last over 100 years.
As you float past what was once the lakeside community of Copco, a ghostly forest rises from the water, trees long submerged by dams a century ago. And above the river, abandoned boat docks hang from the hillside, a reminder of where the reservoir once stood and an eyesore adding to the decreased property values since dam removals.
I think it's been difficult and contentious. You know, this is such a big operation and a big project that's changing what's been established here for, like we've been saying, the last 100 years. So there's people on all different sides of this.
I don't really see much for life here today like I did 2 weeks ago when I was here.
And one resident who's not happy with the healing process is Lisa Mott.
How often do you go?
I try to go at least once a month, maybe a couple times a month, just depending on what they're doing.
Since the start of dam removals, Lisa has documented the progress on the Facebook page she started, Klamath River and Dam Removal.
My objective with the page is just to continue documenting, see what's going on, because obviously I don't know if you've been up to like Camp Creek, Jenny Creek, Beaver Creek, and then the footprints. Like what is actually going on right there in those footprints isn't necessarily being told.
It's time to take action.
Lisa isn't the only resident skeptical about the dam removal process. In my previous reporting, many locals have protested, filed lawsuits, and raised concerns about the impacts on wildlife. But their biggest worry centers on water quality and the massive amount of sediment that is now moving downstream from behind the old dams.
You're trying to solve a problem moving the sediment out, but yet you're creating another problem because you basically just moved the dirt and it's going to wash right back into what you're quote unquote restoring. So to me, that doesn't make sense.
I understand some confusion. You see equipment in the water and you think they're not supposed to be there. I would think that too if I didn't know what was going on.
Jenny Walgren's with Resource Environmental Solutions and says she's heard those worries.
What I've heard most recently is folks having a concern about construction and this material specifically going back down into the water. And that's why we're working in the in-water window, which is a dry period, and following it immediately by vegetation to stabilize that soil so it's not a rush of sediment coming.
Walgren says what people were seeing was equipment in the Jenny Creek area, a former salmon spawning habitat that they're trying to rehabilitate by removing debris.
We're moving things out of the water that may impede salmon coming upstream and spawn do exactly what they need to do. We're sculpting different areas to give that floodplain connection.
As of November, most of the heavy equipment has left, and the focus now is on revegetation.
We still think in 20 years it's going to look better. In 50 years it's going to look better. We needed to get to a place where it's healthy, and then we need to get out of the way.
With the dams and diversion pipes now gone, water can flow freely through many areas that were inaccessible, revealing unique geology now visible to anyone with a paddle.
Now it's an amazing place, like with sites like this that you don't see in many other places in this area.
Rafting the Klamath River 1 year after dam removals. I'm John Bartel.
It's been 2 years since deadly wildfires broke out in Spokane, near Spokane. Next, we'll take a look back at how the community is still feeling the impact. Welcome back to Weather Out West on this Friday. It's time to continue our tour out west in Northern California. Here's Sacramento's Monica Woods.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we're looking at our holiday weekend travel, not only for this weekend, but next weekend. And we've got a lot of changing weather conditions. Our regional headlines heading into our Friday, dry and cool for the coast. For the valley, we're going to be dealing with morning fog on and off for the long range forecast. For the foothills, we'll see clearing skies. And for the Sierra, resorts are starting to open. So definitely check ahead, get those skis and snowboards waxed up and ready to go. It has been an amazing start to the water year. In California, that begins October 1st of one year and then goes all the way into the next year on September 30th. We're coming off of roughly about 3 wetter than average years here. So getting this big start is certainly a bonus for us. We've seen a couple of atmospheric rivers come through and pretty much bring us above normal for the entire state, including Bakersfield, over 2 inches ahead of where we should be this time of year, as well as in Sacramento, over 3 inches, closing in on almost 4 inches ahead of what we normally see at this point in November. Our futurecast also showing that we'll see some drying, but on the heels of this weather system departing Southern California, we are going to see a little bit of patchy fog to start us off for our Friday. So if your travel plans take you along I-5 and Highway 99 through the Central Valley, watch out for those foggy conditions. By the afternoon and evening, things are starting to clear out, and we'll continue to see pretty much that same scenario set up for the weekend. Saturday morning, some patchy fog through the Central Valley, but otherwise clear conditions should be great travel up through the high country. Moving on into our Sunday, again, pretty much the same setup, morning fog and afternoon clearing. A weather system brewing off in the Pacific is taking its time, but we're going to track the opportunity of potentially some showers, making it on the post-holiday travel for the following weekend. In the meantime, it's our Friday forecast. Our highs are in the 40s for the Sierra. Morning lows, though, have been dropping down into the 20s, so be prepared for very chilly conditions if you hit the slopes early in the day. Afternoon highs throughout the foothills, we're in the mid-50s to right around 60. Moving our way southward through Yosemite, 50 are high for our Friday. Overnight low will fall into the 30s, though. Moving into the Central Valley, again, we'll see areas of morning fog, partial afternoon clearing, highs hitting the upper 50s. Still a little chill in the air out there, as highs normally are in the low to mid 60s. We're in the 60s and 50s along the Central Coast. Some areas of low clouds and fog, otherwise clearing skies, and we'll keep it right around the upper 50s to near 60 through the Central Valley for the San Joaquin Valley. Our Bay Area forecast highs are going to reach the low to mid 60s. Inland areas were in the mid 60s as well. Once we get through areas of low clouds, we'll see mostly sunny skies. Friday forecast along the northwest coast, keeping it cool, upper 50s to near 60. We typically don't see a huge swing in temperatures from afternoon highs in the winter and summer, believe it or not. 60s for the north end of the valley heading into our Friday. And for the capital region, again, we're going to see those highs in the 50s to near 60, kind of some nice warming after a chilly start to the day. And that's going to be one of the weather stories we're going to continue to follow. Although it will be dry, we'll see those morning lows stay in the 20s for the Sierra, 40s for the foothills with afternoon highs near 60. And for the coast, we're in the 60s. As we head into our holiday forecast, we're dry, tracking that weather system potentially for post-holiday travel.
From Northern California to Eastern Washington, let's take you to Spokane with Thomas Patrick.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. A happy Friday to everybody, and hopefully your weekend and week before Thanksgiving will be going fairly here. For Spokane's weather, well, we started with a little bit of fog or mist, but nothing that was anything bothersome, and even Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, still some low-hanging cloud cover, but shaping up to be just kind of a fine, normal, to be expected November day. A lot to cover, though, through the Thanksgiving and the holiday forecast. Next rain's going to be on Sunday, and that'll unlock some colder weather and maybe, just maybe, the first snowfall of the season for next week. So with that, we jump into the temperature outlook. And there have been some changes in the last couple days. For Spokane, we're still on the colder than average side of the scale, but not by much anymore. It's not quite as strong of a signal as it was earlier in the week. And that trend is trending warmer, just slightly, but enough that it could make a difference, because rain versus snow only takes 1 or 2 degrees to make a big difference. Even Oregon is now trending warmer than average. So for that, I still have to show the big picture. And the first thing that's going to happen is a storm and a cold front will pass through the Pacific Northwest. For Spokane, that will be around Sunday evening. You certainly see plenty of rain around this region for that Sunday night. Okay, that's the first storm that's going to pass through, but still warm enough for rain. Now, if it were going to get a lot colder, we would still want to see the jet stream in that trough shape that would dig in and dive to the south. But that's not the case. Look at how the jet stream is oriented coming off of the Pacific Ocean. This is actually guiding the moisture from the central Pacific towards the Pacific Northwest. This is why Oregon is trending a little bit warmer. Spokane is right on the cusp of that like 50-50 line, though it is, again, trending a little bit more mild, but it's a close call. So here's what I know for Spokane's forecast, eastern Washington, in terms of temperatures and snowfall or precipitation. It will be colder around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Those should be our 2 coldest days, highs in the 30s, which is below average for the season. The mountain passes will likely get snowfall on that Wednesday, especially Snoqualmie and Stevens Pass. The likelihood of at least 2 inches of snow looking a lot greater at this stage here. So I would prepare for some winter weather driving for the mountain passes along I-90 and Highway 2 for Wednesday specifically. As for snow at lower elevations, it's still uncertain, it's unclear. But if it's going to happen, it'll happen on Wednesday morning, in the middle of that cold time frame there. That would be the moment where it would be cold enough to snow. It's just a matter of if that degree or 2 difference will ultimately make a difference. That's why I can't guarantee it yet, but it's a good chance. As for today, though, temperatures stay in the low to mid 40s and will still be in the mid 40s for both days this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, 46, 45 degrees respectively. There's that rain chance for Sunday night. That's the cold front. And we'll get temperatures down to the 30s for Tuesday and Wednesday. Those will be the coldest points of next week, right before Thanksgiving. And again, big if it snows, it'll be Wednesday morning, but it would melt by Thanksgiving Thursday anyways.
And 2 years after 2 deadly wildfires near Spokane burned thousands of acres and destroyed homes, the damage still runs deep. Cody Proctor with our Environment Northwest team shows us the new problems and what's at stake.
Once I seen it on Zillow, we wanted this property.
It was love at first listing for Arthur Dibble Jr. He and his family moved to rural Spokane County from California 8 years ago.
Coming from where we were, I think we were more just amazed with how green it was and all the trees.
Today, those trees are now skeletons after the Oregon Road fire burned through his property 2 years ago. Dibble's home survived the flames. His shop, where his dad lived, did not.
He got the dogs and left and barely made it out of here.
Dibble rebuilt, but now every rainstorm brings a new disaster. His driveway and the county dirt road it connects to wash out every time it pours.
It used to not be that much water, because there's so many trees sucking up everything, vegetation. Now, when it rains, our driveway going out to the main road, it washes out.
Ain't nobody coming in here.
You'll get some 3-foot craters in the center, down to the rock.
Now, when we talk about how much dirt has been lost from Oregon Road, according to Dibble, you just really have to look at the road itself. This section starts to scoop up and dip through farther than it has before. The other thing he says to look at is the side of the road. These metal posts, according to him, used to be level with the roadway. Now, we're looking at a difference of at least a foot.
Spokane County crews have cleared trees and graded roads, but officials admit erosion will keep cutting into the landscape until vegetation regrows. Dibble says it's not enough.
We can't get it to slope properly because there's so much rock that it's down to now, so we're just patching holes until the next rain.
Erosion and runoff are common after a fire.
The water can't penetrate the surface because there's just so much ash, it just keeps it on the surface.
Mary Ellen Reyna's with Washington's Department of Natural Resources, working with their post-fire recovery program. Part of their work includes replanting thousands of seedlings throughout the Gray and Oregon Road fire burn scars in Spokane County and handing out grass seed to fix erosion issues. Restoring the landscape is where recovery begins, and it's rarely easy. That's why DNR partnered up with Portland nonprofit Sustainable Northwest to put together a step-by-step guide for post-fire reforestation.
That was something that I wanted to hand a landowner during the Oregon and Gray Fire.
It really emphasizes that there are people and resources that you should reach out to from the very beginning.
Publishing this book hits home for Klotz.
Yeah.
Her mom's house burned in the Gray Fire near Medical Lake the same day as the Oregon Road fire.
They found out about the house burning through a video that had been taken across the lake from where their house is.
They've since rebuilt the home, and the family plans to have their first Christmas there this year. But the environment isn't fully healed yet.
It's not going to be an instant thing, so slow progress is great.
Recovery will take time. Time for these seedlings to take root, and time for Dibble to work the road and remember why he moved to Elk in the first place.
It's just a different chapter. It's going to look different for sure, but it's still going to be beautiful up here.
For Environment Northwest, I'm Cody Proctor.
Welcome back to Weather Out West. Now it's time to check in with Denver's Kathy Sabin, Katie LaSalle, and Boise's Hector Mendoza.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We have been tracking some beneficial moisture after a prolonged period of unusually warm, dry weather. We haven't seen the season's first snowfall in Denver yet, and here we are in the month of November, ranking number 5 in terms of snowiest months for us with 7.4 inches on average. Our snowiest month is March, followed by April, but this has been a really weird season. Although things are changing, we have 2 storms, one that crossed Colorado yesterday on the way out, headed for Nebraska. The next one is moving on shore in Southern California, bringing rain to Los Angeles. This one will track across the southwest towards southern Colorado, and that one on Sunday may bring a few showers to the southern half of the state and make it as far north as Denver. So at least there's some things to talk about out there, but the most impactful storms will be the one exiting our state today, moving into St. Louis and Atlanta, and the one moving onshore from California into the desert southwest. We have diminishing snow showers in the mountains today and rain showers on the eastern plains. After 4 to 8 inches of snow in the Sangre de Cristo range, there were winter weather and travel advisories posted. Some areas in eastern Colorado picked up a ½ inch of rain. We'll see the rain come to an end in Denver, but it won't be a warm day. For a change, we're going to have seasonal highs in the upper 40s and lower 50s, but only for today, because Saturday we are right back into the 50s, close to 60 degrees with lots of sunshine. May have a shower late Sunday, warm again on Monday, and then a little bit unsettled next week. We have another storm coming in, and some of the models suggest a chance of flurries or rain showers Tuesday and potentially again on Thursday. So we'll let you know if this system is going to be impactful. It's a very busy week for Thanksgiving travel, but at least the weather in Colorado is becoming much more interesting.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. It is November 21st, 2025, and Denver still has not seen snow, making it the second latest first official snowfall that we've ever seen. And we do not really have the chance for seeing snow with our next storm system set to roll in on Sunday. Typically, we've seen snow on average by the middle to late times of October. A few flakes may be possible Tuesday as colder air is set to roll in. But December 10th of 2021, that is the latest time that we've ever seen our first snowfall. Hopefully we don't get to that stage because we are bracing for some colder air set to roll into the region. From the north, it's going to be Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll introduce much chillier temperatures, but we saw officially 24 days of no moisture for the metro area. So it was great to pick up a little bit of rain, not a lot, less than 1/10 of an inch for most spots all across the metro area. Trace amounts up near Boulder as well, but places like Alamosa picked up just under 1/2 of an inch of rain. So some good moisture there. As we look ahead to our next storm system, Saturday will be nice and dry, but we are going to be seeing more snow for Colorado's high country and rain across the Denver area and plains. It'll be Sunday night into Monday. You see the temperatures just not cold enough to produce that snowfall here. Lows will drop down to the mid to upper 30s early Monday morning. Sunny and mild Tuesday turns colder. That'll be our next best chance Tuesday night as temperatures fall to the 20s into Wednesday morning if we see some precipitation. We will let you know how that pans out. It's not looking like a major storm system by any means. And Thursday, looking ahead for Thanksgiving, it is actually looking quite seasonal and dry. But taking a peek at some of Denver's snowiest Thanksgiving, we're not on track to produce this kind of snow, it doesn't look like, but 8.5 inches back in 1928 and in 1958, nearing 5 inches. So we're still keeping our fingers crossed. It's very late in the season to not have seen snowfall, but at least we got some wet weather this time around.
Well, we had some very dense fog across the Treasure and Magic Valley, so that included Caldwell, Boise, Nampa, Mountain Home, all the way down into the east into the Magic Valley as we look at Jerome and Twin Falls. We also had some of that really start to make its way up further north and through areas of like McCall there through the west central mountains, but that since has made its way on out. But we're expecting to see a little bit more fog here through the overnight hours and in through the next couple of mornings as well as we continue through the weekend. The next thing that holds steady is going to be some of those temperatures all the way through Sunday before we see a cold snap that arrives there in through the beginning of next week. So again, because of some of the conditions here this morning as we stay dry and clear with very light winds, that's what helped the fog development. And that's what's going to continue there. And that's all because of this ridge of high pressure, what's going to bring us some quiet and dry conditions all the way through Sunday. But then that system right behind that is going to bring a cold front, cooler temperatures, and a chance for some showers, possibly dropping some of those snow levels. So high elevation snow really going to be a factor as we continue on through the beginning of the week and heading in closer in through Thanksgiving. Could also see some of those showers make their way through in portions of the valleys as we get further south, and that system comes in there in through early Monday and Tuesday morning. But again, this is what we're looking like right now as we fast forward here through Friday and Saturday as we start to see a little bit more of that ridge really continue to make its way on into the east. And that's what's really going to bring us some of those warmer temperatures here, or at least keep us relatively mild there as we head on closer in through about Sunday. And then we're going to start to notice we've had a long streak of above average temperatures as we head into Sunday. That'll change as we're going to get right on par with the average, possibly on Monday, dropping down to below average temperatures as we head on to Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's all going to be due to this system right here that's going to continue to make its way on through. That's what's going to drop some of our temperatures as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. And here's a chance where we're going to see a little bit more of those showers, still staying pretty light and pretty scattered there across portions of the Treasure and Magic Valleys. But for the mountains, we're going to see those snow levels drop, so we could see about an inch, a little bit more in some of those higher peaks as we continue on through the middle of the week. Now, the biggest thing that we're going to anticipate is going to be that Colorado State game. So a lot of that comfortable temperatures that we're seeing here for Friday will continue on in for tomorrow for senior night out on the blue. Kickoff at 5 o'clock. Lighter winds. We're expecting to see a little bit more of that sunshine as we get towards kickoff. And by the end of the game, those temperatures drop down into the low 40s. So again, temperatures looking pretty cool there as we get on towards the evening. But then in through that kickoff, again, those temperatures pretty comfortable as we head on into the afternoon. But as we look at the 7-day forecast here for Twin Falls, those temperatures stay into the upper 40s. A lot more of that sunshine there through Sunday. But we're expecting to see those clouds return as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Then we get a bit of a break there with temperatures really starting to drop down into those below freezing temperatures into the low 20s. And then we're going to see a slight rise in temperatures Wednesday and through Thursday, and a slight chance as well as some of those showers there as we look on into the middle of the week. But as we look at the 7-day forecast here for Boise, temperatures will be into the low 50s. Now that just depends on how much cloud cover we're expecting there through the evening. So some of these temperatures could trend a little bit cooler, and morning temperatures and overnight lows can also trend a little bit warmer than what we're anticipating. But then as we get on into Monday, we'll see a lot more of that sunshine, temperatures down to the low to mid 40s. And then we expect again some of those chances of showers there for Wednesday.
Before we go, take a look at this. The Seattle Aquarium has they welcomed a new otter. Her name is Ruby. She is a southern sea otter, the first in the aquarium's care. Look at her little smile. She came from the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where she was rescued as a 1-day-old pup. The Seattle Aquarium says it's excited to see how Ruby settles in with the other otters. Isn't she cute? And on that note, we're going to let you go for the weekend. We hope you have a fabulous one, and we'll see you again next Monday. And we thank you again for being with us today.